Okay, here we go. So this right here is just some of the jobs that I set up here. The most important one is the one called TCP frame. Inside the job, just has some math instructions, and it has a variable that you set right here at the top here with a 62. What that 62 is, that's the actual frame that it'll create around the TCP. So if I actually go to robot and I go to user frame, and I can go down to 62, and you'll see where it is highlighted. So that means there is a frame in there. So let me show you basically what that does. I'll do it first just by running it. Let me see. I'm going to run it. I have a cutout job that I programmed. I'll show you what it looks like. Just boom, boom, boom. There you go. That's it, and it pulls away. Okay? So basically, so that's the first point in the cutout. And what I can do is I can show you what that job does just by running it by itself. So I'm going to go to TCP frame, and I'm just going to put it in play and run it. Okay, now what happened is it doesn't look like it did anything, but if you notice, I have my cursor right here on 62. That means that I've got it selected. You know, if you hit the shift and the coordinate button, you can select a coordinate that you want to move on. So I already have 62 selected there, so I can hit shift coordinate again, and now I can actually move on the coordinate. And you're going to find that if I move on this coordinate, it's going to be the same as the TCP. So if I go so right here I'm set for the coordinate. I'm going to go Z plus. It goes down just like the TCP. If I go X plus, same thing, and then Y plus, just like the TCP, because I'll prove it right now. I'm going to select the actual TCP. Okay, right there, tool, and let's do the same thing. And we're going to go Z plus goes down, X plus, and then Y plus. And then we go to user coordinate. There it is, 62. Yep. Z plus, Y plus, X plus. Okay. Let's see. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go job and select job, and then I'm going to go to the first point on the cutout. Okay, I'm there. So what I want to do is I want to convert this to a relative job that's relative to that frame that we can create on the fly around the TCP. It'll be a variable frame. So the first thing that I'm going to do is it's at that point, I'm going to have it like a driver job. That's the job that's going to call my subs. So pretty much I called it test main. It's empty, right? So I'm just going to insert a linear point right there at the beginning. Now this point is the same point as where my job is. See, the cursor's not flashing, and if I go back into my cutout job, well, yeah, yeah, you can see it doesn't move. That's where it's at. So let me go back into my job main, test main. Okay, so that's like the first initial point that I have, orientation, everything. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a call statement in here. Oh wait, not a jump. I'm going to call. Let me go back. Let me get rid of this. Okay. Inform. Okay, insert control call. There we go. And then what I'm going to call is my TCP frame, my variable frame, right there. There we go. Then the last thing I have to do, well, let's do this first. I'm going to actually just execute it again. It already created it in that point, but I just want to make sure. So I'm going to go, let me go back to the first point to make sure it's there. I'm going to push play and start. Okay, good. Now I'm guaranteed that the frame is taught at the TCP, and it's right there where we want it. Okay, right on the first point. Now I'm back in Teach, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert. I'm going to go Job, select Job, and I'm going to go to my cutout job that I created. And if you look at the header, display job header, it shows that it's a standard job type standard job. See that? So that means it's just based on the pulse counts of the robot. It's a normal job. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back into the job. Let's see, and I'm going to go to utility, and I'm going to go to relative job. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to select the cutout, and then I'm going to go down, and I already selected. See, you have a. This is the important thing. You could select the base if it's on a base or the robot coordinate, but in our case, we want to go to the variable frame that's created by our TCP job. So, anyways, then I'm going to type 62 because that's the frame, the variable frame, and then what I'm going to do is select the same. It'll say cutout, and I'm going to add an R afterwards just so I know that it's a relative job. Okay, so I'm converting it to a relative job. So I put a dash R after it. Okay, and I'm going to say execute. Now this looks just the same, but if I go to the display job header, I can see that it's a relative job. See that? And it's user frame 62. Okay, so now here's where the magic comes in. I'm going to go back into our test main job, and I'm going to put a call into our relative job. Okay, there we go. Now, this thing, if everything's done right, it should run exactly like it did before with no changes or anything. So I'm going to go back here, and let me put it in play, um, and I'm going to start it. Okay, I can run it again if I want. Start. There it goes. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, good. Now go to back to teach. Let's say that I want to put another cutout, the same thing over here now. Okay, piece of cake, man. All we have to do is, okay, I'm going to go back and job, select job. Um, Let me go back to my first point, okay, because I just want to put it in a specific area, but you could actually do it anywhere you want, that point. Okay, then I'm going to go back to my test job, and okay, let's just, let me put it in robot coordinates, or world, yep, right there. Okay, I'm going to move, let's see, I want to put a cutout right about over here, start one right there, okay? So basically all I'm going to do is just record one point right there, insert, enter, there we go. And then I'm going to kind of cheat here. I'm just going to get over here and I'm going to copy these two lines. Copy. Okay, I'm going to drop down and I'm going to paste. Okay, that's all we got to do. This should run two cutouts. Okay, well, I'll show you what's going on. We'll watch it here. All right. Okay, and that's pretty cool. You can do that all day long. Put cutouts at anywhere you want. Let's see. Let's do another one here. Now, see that went up. Let me go back to the starting point. Let me go to the second starting point. Okay, good. Um, and then let's see. Okay, I'm going to do this and maybe put Y over here. Turn one over here, right here. But you know what? I don't want that angle. Okay, so let's do this. Um, I'm going to say, yeah, okay, insert enter. Okay, I got a rough point taught right there. Now what I'm going to do is I want to change the angle. Okay, so the best way for me to spin around that tool is I'm going to put it in tool coordinates, and I'm going to rotate. I don't want to, let's see. Yeah, let's rotate it. Okay, there we go, and I'm going to modify. Oh, and I'll rotate more here. There we go. Okay, then I'm going to go modify. enter. Okay, good. Now let's just copy our 2 points here. I mean, not 2 points, our sub jobs. Edit, copy. I'm going to paste them. Okay. All right. Let me start this thing and we'll see what happens. We should see a major change in the angle. We're gonna rerun everything. See that piece of cake? You could do anything you want with it. Let's say, okay, let's say I wanted to, I could do anything with this just by modifying 1 point. That's it. Like, let me, okay, I'm going to go back to the first point. And then let's go up. I want to change back to world. There we go. Let me see, y positive this way. Okay, good. And then I want to actually, let's not do that. I'm just going to put it like an angle up here. Let's say it's, on something folding up that way and I want to put it over there. No problem. Okay, wait. Oh, you know what I did wrong? I got this thing moving automatically. So I'm going to have to go, let me go back to that. Y plus. Okay. And then I'm going to rotate. Let's see. Yep. And then let me move it a little bit further back this way. There we go. And then go up a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Let me go. Okay. And then, oh, darn it. It moved the cursor automatically. Let me move it down here. This is getting frustrating. Okay, so I'm going to go plus. Okay. And then Y plus. And then fold it back over this way. I don't use MotoSim that often. Okay, so, all right, there we go. All right, so let me record this point. Insert, enter. Okay, that's all you got to do, and then let me rerun this thing. Edit, copy, and then I'm going to paste. Okay, so then now let's run our job, and we'll see what happens. There's the second one, then the other one on the angle, and then, oh, it's going to run the other one. Look at that. You can do anything you want to it. I mean, that's the beauty of it. Unlike form cut's good because you can vary it, with just changing a few arguments. The power of this is that you can do whatever you want because it's a program that you can put your nozzle, turn it on wherever you want, turn it off wherever you want. You can, I mean, it's a job. It's a regular job that'll move anywhere you want it because it's relative. And the whole engine or trick behind this is that there's a utility that can change the frame on the fly and make it relative to the to the TCP, and that's the power of it, But there's some rules with this too. Is like number one, you have to try to make the first point of the cutout the same as where the starting point is, so you know what you're doing, and the same orientation. Let me see what else. But the job, now this job, I did it in a job format. If you had two robot system, you would have to make it a job applicable to the control group for the second robot. So you'd have to just copy it over and set it up for like robot 2. So right now I have a TCP frame R1. You'd have to have a TCP frame R2. We could do it in a macro. I don't know if you have macro job turned on. If you do, then then you could do it like a macro. I don't know if you're familiar with macros, but basically the way the job works is we just load a variable, with the 62, which is the frame we want to create. So if we have R2, we would probably call it 63. So I would just go over here and then change this to a 63, and that's it. So then if I run this, let's see, play, start. Okay. What I did was I just created. Let's look at the frames now. Let me see, frame, user coordinate. Now you'll notice that that's highlighted. The 63 is, so I could actually just put a description in here, and call it robot 2. Robot 2 frame, or robot 2 frame. I'll just go whatever. It doesn't matter. All right, so that's it. And then so yeah, the way that this works, it just captures the position of where the robot's at, and then it basically, like, it uses MOLMAT, and it creates, it's kind of like, it mathematically creates a frame, because normally a frame, the way that you would create it is you'd go over here and you'd say, okay, let me run over here, and then you'd have an origin, and then you have an XX, and then you have an XY, and you would teach 3 points on a plane: an origin, an XX, and an XY, and then you could say complete, and then teach that frame. Well, what this thing does is it uses MOLMAT to mathematically figure out where the end of that tool is, your control point, and then it create, that's what, and then it basically mathematically fakes it out like it's teaching. You can see inside this job where, let me see, TC frame. Yeah, it actually takes, this is in micrometers, so it's actually 500, which is like 500 millimeters one way, and then 500 millimeters the other way, and then the make frame, that's what the MOLMAT does, and then the make frame basically just creates the frame. The arguments to it are the origin, the XX, and the XY, and then you can notice that it says a variable in there, and that's how that number on the top, that's where that comes from. That 63 is plugged into there. So I'm going to change this back to 62. 62. There we go. So it's a piece of cake. Like I said, this doesn't have to be a regular job. It just depends on whether you have the macro option activated, But you can see how easy it is. You have to follow this structure, though. You have to have the 1 point, and then you have to call the frame, the TCP frame job every time. Even so, this would be the format that you'd have to use where you actually run parts. Of course, inside the DT or the cutout job, you'd have your gun on, your gun off, because you want to turn it on. You want to do it inside, whether you want to start it in the side or the edge or whatever. It's just a regular job, except for its relative, obviously. But this is the structure you'd use. So that's it. I don't know. Hopefully, this you can catch my drift on what you can do with this. All right, and all right. Well, thanks a lot. Yep. Take care.